Is talent real? And more specifically, is musical talent real? Here's my take on talent. I haven't even checked, but I can imagine that there are millions of videos about talent versus hard work. But I wanted to make this video anyway, because I feel like I have a lot to say about talent. Now, I'm not even going to pretend to be smart and make like a scientific video like Vsauce. I will just speak from experience and my observations. So very recently I came across the annual Shred collab by Jared Dines, which is always a joy to watch. And right after watching, I went over to the channel of Charles Berthoud, I think, who in my opinion is probably one of the best bassists on YouTube, along with Davey, of course. Best bassist as in the YouTuber who will always make your jaw drop to the floor whenever he's playing, which is always the case for me. Looking at the comments, I would say that half of all the comments are from people who are saying that he is really talented, which is a very nice comment, but I'm not sure if Charles would agree with that. There is one obvious reason why he is so good, and the reason is hard work. Now, you're not going to turn into Charles if you just practice bass every day. There are more things that come into play. I'd say that if you want to really master an instrument, you have to really love playing. You need to be dedicated to practicing. You need to be interested in the instrument. You probably need to know the basics of music theory. And you really need to delve into the whole technical stuff behind the instrument. But here comes the important one, so get ready. You need to challenge yourself to be open-minded about how you practice and what you practice. I, for one, would be the guy who would just practice the same 2 exercises over and over again, just because I'd be so lazy. You really need to play different genres, you need to listen to a wide range of musical styles, and you would probably just need to be good at every single technique there is. So coming back to talent, we are assuming that this talented person is already good at all of those things. That's where it gets complicated. Now, try to think of who is the best guitarist in the world right now, or at least one of the best. There's one name that pops up in my mind, and it's probably the same for a lot of you guys, which is John Petrucci from Dream Theater. Is he actually talented though? I wouldn't say so. He started playing at the age of 8 and practiced about 6 hours every day, and only 10 years later he created Dream Theater. So he had plenty of time to become good. It's the same for the rest of the band, really. They all started practicing at a very young age, and they all went to the same musical university. So it's no surprise that they are so skilled. So let's pick someone else who most certainly gets a lot of comments about talent. In the theme of the channel, let's pick Daniel Liedenle from Pain of Salvation. I could have picked Jacob Collier, but we all know that he started at a very young age. I'll just say Daniel for now. But a lot of people don't know who he is, but those who do know him probably know what I'm talking about. Now, he plays guitar, he plays bass, he plays mandola and bouzouki, he plays drums, and he plays piano, and there are probably more instruments even. And he's very, very good at all of them. And yet, he's known for his vocals. We're talking about a guy who has a 4+ octave range, can scream and growl, but then also sing like an angel and sing in every sort of musical style, really. Is he talented? I wouldn't say so. His dad was a drummer, so he grew up in a musical family. He listened to all sorts of music as a kid, like ABBA and Kate Bush and the Beatles and you name it. He started the band at the age of 11, which later on turned out to be Pain of Salvation. He never had a single vocal lesson, but ended up being one of the most well-known singers in the progressive community. Same goes for Mr. Alkerveld from Opeth, who never had a single vocal lesson. If you actually watch YouTube analysis videos about his voice, you can actually see that his technique is pretty poor, but he makes it work. Same goes for Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, who is definitely one of my favorite singers of all time. Not a single vocal lesson. Now, they all have 2 things in common. They know exactly what they want from a song, from their voice, but also they have soul. Now, soul is very hard to explain as it's more of an instinctive feeling. But whether you are born with or without soul, I would argue that growing up, being surrounded by music and musicians will definitely help you with being able to sing with soul or write music with soul. For example, I definitely wasn't born with the ability to sing these Turkish melodies that I sing on the first album and also on the second album. But growing up in a half-Turkish household sure helped as we listened to Turkish music, as well as Tool, as well as Opeth. Now, I'm not saying that I don't believe in talent, but as a musician, I find it hard to believe that all of these well-known artists only got big because of their talent. For some reason that doesn't feel right, because it is hard work. It's really hard work. I personally don't know anyone who picked up an instrument and actually mastered it after 5 months, only because they are talented. It's like those 4-year-old kids who are competing against 50-year-old chess grandmasters. So if your 4-year-old is really interested in learning all about the Sicilian defense and the Andersons opening, I would say that he's probably highly intelligent rather than talented. So again, I'm not saying that talent doesn't exist, but I feel like talent is more specific. Specific enough to say that every single person is probably talented at something. For example, I used to play football starting at the age of 7, I think. And there was one thing that I just did better than anyone else, which was passing and predicting the outcome of a good pass. Is that talent? Maybe. But when you compare something as specific as passing to, let's say, being able to use 10 different techniques on the bass, I would say that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. A young talented bass player probably excels at playing exactly on a beat, much like how a talented young singer probably excels at singing exactly in tune. So here's my question then. When you compliment somebody on being talented, is that just a nice way to say you are good? Or are you really just saying you are that 1 in a million musician? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this, because I definitely don't have an answer. I'm just rambling. When I see these comments on a video by, for example, Charles, I sometimes feel like saying that someone is talented is just a good excuse to be lazy and not improve your own skills. Also, I do want to say that if somebody calls me talented, I do appreciate it. It's not like that's a negative comment. It's wonderful. But when it comes to music, I just don't believe that I am talented. I'm a very average bass player who has been playing for 6 years. I edit my bass tracks in order to make it sound decent. But this channel isn't about me being a total bass god. It is just about tabs. I do believe I'm good at transcribing, and I'm still getting better and better at it. But that's not talent. That is 6 years of transcribing. Now, whatever happens after the release of this video, I do want to say that I really enjoy doing this. A lot of people have told me that they like to listen to me while I'm just talking about a subject for some reason. So maybe I will do more of this every once in a while. So let me know your opinion on talent and have a good one.